Okay, so this is my sketchbook for the self-initiated project brief. I have two sketchbooks for this brief, so this is just the first one. And here is the brief. So my project theme, illustrations to promote Roger Waters' Tour 2020 and tell the story of songs/album illustrations. What's your project about? My project centers on Roger Waters' 2020 tour, celebrate Roger Waters as an artist and make his most notable works, which will be part of his new tour. My project aims to bring music to a younger audience. I will be making a series of illustrations to represent some of his most well-known songs, using a digital medium to be used as promotional materials for his new tour. The illustrations will be in a graphic style to allow them to be applied to a variety of marketing and promotional material for from posters to t-shirts to show the versatility of my work. It was designed for established fans, younger audience, those who may not be familiar with Waters/Pink Floyd, and music fans in general. And the format that it will be delivered in: posters, gifs/animation, merchandise, branding, lanyards, t-shirts, advertisement, etc. Okay, illustrators who have influenced your choice of this project. Storm Thorgerson, Jared Gaines, Gerald Scarfe, Ralph Steadman, Joe Macaroni. 5 books, so Between the Eyes by Ralph Steadman, Pink Floyd, Mind Over Matter by Storm Thorgerson, The Making of Pink Floyd, The Wall by Gerald Scarfe, Pink Floyd Behind the Wall by Hugh Fielder, The Greatest Album Covers of All Time by Barry Miles, and his 5 websites, so that's Jared Gaines' website, Joe Macaroni's website, it's a Adobe animation guide website, Roger Waters' website, and an article on the story of Pink Floyd The Wall, and just notes, look at GIF artists like Rebecca Mock and Joe Macaroni, article for The Wall, and ticket sales for his show. So that's my brief that I wrote, and here is some artist research. So I looked at Jared Gaines, which was a big inspiration for my project. He does these like flash sheets of illustrations to go along with songs. So creates flash sheets to illustrate individual songs to tell the story of an album. So that's more of his stuff. And I had a look at Tattoo Flash for Love. I think this was just early on when I was still thinking about ideas for what I wanted to do. So I thought maybe it could connect with the folio brief that I did for the competition. And that's just a summary of the album. So I wanted to do my illustrations based on The Wall because I thought that was like a cohesive sort of storyline. And I looked at some album covers. I looked at Storm Thorgerson. And here's some more of Storm Thorgerson. So let's just juxtapose his surreal imagery against realistic, natural backdrops. like fields and desert almost gives a sense that it could be real / dreamlike effect. So that's some of the stuff, Pink Floyd, and also other artists like Biffy Clyro there. And I had a look at Gerald Scarfe. And he was the illustrator on the film adaptation of The Wall. And here's some of his illustrations for that here that I looked at. So he does oil painting, ink drawing, caricatures. Very dynamic, gives a sense of flow and movement. Symbolism. So he uses symbolism, so like water's right represents a mantis. Flowers representing genitalia. It's real and abstract. And here is, I went through and did just a lot of annotation of just my interpretations of the different songs. So this is the album, The Wall. And just annotating and making notes, just to get some ideas for just how I might illustrate them. Oops. Sorry, just a second. Okay, so here is, that was my initial like drawings that I did. This is just for the first song in the album, In the Flesh. These were like initial ideas. So if you can just read that, it's just explaining my thought behind them. And these are the drawings. And I did some real research. This one for Ralph Steadman. Oops, sorry. Who was tied to Gerald Scarfe. They were friends at one point. And he's got sort of a similar style. So I thought I would do some research into him. Oops. And so here is some reference images for In the Flesh Part 1. So this was just what I used for references to like draw off of, what was like inspiring to me. So I looked at like some sort of space stuff, some of the show, some of Roger Waters himself, and some of these like double exposure. Well, these are tattoos, but you know, they could work perfectly fine. So I really like these double exposure illustrations. And so this was my first illustration that I did for the project. And this was one I chose after feedback because it was the strongest and reflected the song lyrics the best. And I was thinking as well that I could maybe do animation later on in the line. You know, get the lights to flash on and off. This is some research that I did into the 2020 tour. I also looked at the Glasgow Science Centre's Pink Floyd Planetarium experience. So I thought that was quite interesting how they did these sort of shows for Pink Floyd. And here's some images from the planetarium. So like light shows. And here is thin ice. These are my designs, and if you can just see that, just some little comments on them. And these are just the reference images. So like ice skates, figures, silhouettes, sort of beachy stuff, cracks in ice. Here is the final digital drawing. And these were just some more ideas I was writing down for another brick in the wall, because I thought it's like split into 3 parts, so I was thinking how I could make that work. If you can read those. So it's just talking about what each part is about. So that's the loss of his father, the school teachers, and then the final part of the song, the wall's completion. And for the image ideas, I did have this idea that maybe like it could be one big image that's like made into like these bricks. These are my ideas for another brick in the wall part 1. So there's a photo book and a camera. I ended up going with the camera one because I preferred that one. And that's the digital drawing of the camera. And then here's some reference images that I looked at. Okay, so, and then next I did the happiest days of our lives, and there's just some reference images for that. So graduation cap, school building. I looked at these sort of Japanese style demons. So sort of like graphic tattoo style that I'm interested in. Because I wanted to do my own sort of style, my own spin on it. And this is what I came up with. And that's just like an alternate concept one there, just like front facing, but this is the one I went with. And just some comments around that, just some notes on it, just to explain my working. So yeah, there's the finished drawing for that I did in Procreate, as you can see. And yeah, this was another idea that I had, that I put the school like inside of his mouth, because I really like the idea of like he's sort of swallowing the children up and they're going into like a school that's on fire. Very dramatic. But then for Brick and Wall Part 2, I drew up this sort of children walking along a cane instead, which I really liked for that. So upon further revision, I thought about imagery to relate to school, but in a negative light, which made me think of the cane. I then added the children's silhouettes walking across the cane as if it was on their way to school. And then there we go, is the finished one. And just some references. So canes, children's silhouettes, schools. And this is for mother. So you can just have a look at the writing there, just the notes. So these were inspired by traditional tattoo designs of the prisoner of love and a sort of traditional crying baby. And then sort of the broken heart, sort of mother. And here are the references for that. here's the finished piece for that. I think I'm going to just split this up into 2 parts because it's getting to 20-minute mark and I might have some difficulties uploading if it's too long of a video. So I'll just put this into 2 parts.